welcome back to Missouri Valley College. Greg Mitchell Field of Only C. Ashford staying for the second game of our doubleheader between the Missouri Valley College Vikings and the Baker University Wildcats. The women won 3-1 in game one. Game two is for all the marbles in the men's part of the conference. Hello, everyone. I'm Chaz Maddie. This is the Viking Sports Network, and before we get started, let's quickly get to the graphics to look at the conference standings. These two teams are 1-2 in the conference. Baker 9-1-1, Missouri Valley 8-2-1. Whoever wins this game wins the Heart of America Athletic Conference outright, and they will be the number one seed in the postseason tournament, which will begin coming up this upcoming week. And for home field advantage for all the games for the weekend coming up in terms of the conference tournament over the course of the next couple weeks. So that is what is at stake in this game. Baker is number one with a win or tie as far as the tournament goes in the conference. Valley must win to win the conference. I'll go through the starting lineups in a second as Baker putting a lot of pressure on offensively in the early going. Missouri Valley is number one with the win. Valley could finish two if these two teams tie, if Central Methodist ties Clark or CMU loses to Clark. So loss or a tie by the Eagles in Central Methodist helps. And Benedictine has to tie or lose to Mount Mercy, and Mid-America has to tie or lose to Graceland later on this evening. All of the men's action is going to start after the conclusion of this game today. So, starters for Missouri Valley College. Number one, Patrick Aracunda in goal. He's a junior out of Ashford, England. Number three, Ross Clark, a senior out of Edinburgh, Scotland. Number five, Maurice Gerson, freshman out of the Netherlands. Luka Gluskovic, who's from Belgrade, Serbia. Javi Gladiador out of Mataro, Spain, is also a starter today for the Vikings. Vinny Magelhans gets the start. He's a senior today. James McLaren out of Luton, England. Dominic Newton, Sergio Toro, Pedro Garcia, Euros Illich, the Vikings. Joan Martorell, also starting for the Missouri Valley College Vikings. For Baker, Alberto Ciori out of Udine, Italy, is the goalkeeper. Alex Breivik, Austin Halsley, Joseph Houlihan, Steve Puna, Jack Adamson, Max Baum, Joa Hickel, Jordan Gomez-Nix, Blake Levine are the starters for Baker as that goes wide. We're 2.5 in, and there'll be a goal kick for Valley. So there are your starters. As you can see, the ball headed high and wide. Valley now working up left side and near side. Kicked ahead for Clark. It's behind Clark. And so we'll go over to the Wildcats. Valley, with a win, wins the conference outright. Valley with a loss, it gets interesting. So for the Vikings, number one is absolutely in play. Also absolutely in play is a descent all the way down to number 7. So there is a tremendous amount of stuff. Or sorry, number 6 is what could, as far as Valley could fall if the Vikings should happen to lose, and a lot of other things happen through the course of the day. The ball stays with the Vikings. Clark will throw it in. And McLaren tries to work around Baum, can't do it. Baker now. Baker in the blue uniforms. Light blue socks. There's a chance and a high shot, a left foot For Valley, and that looks like it's Sergio Toro who missed that shot, went through the uprights on the feed from Glucevic. And so Baker will bring it back in with the goal kick. Baker with blue shirts, white numerals, light blue socks. Valley, orange shirts, white shorts, and white numerals. There's some orange trim on those shots. Both these schools feature orange prominently. Valley is wearing the orange tops today. Baker in the blue. Far side now. And that ball gets over to Baker. They'll work the left side. The feed coming from Levine. But Valley gets it back. That's McLaren. Now ahead, and that pass is intercepted by Adamson. And a lot of body action early on. We're 5 minutes into this one. And it's been a pretty physical start to the contest thus far. As you can see, that Pedro Garcia was lifted out. The ball comes back and now kicked ahead. Valley working from south to north, from right to left, and into the wind this first half. There's a little bit of a swirl from the wind. The wind is coming from the north and west. The field actually kind of runs from the southeast to northwest. The press box is going to make things, in terms of the wind, a little interesting. It will swirl around the box in the stands. The game time temperature is 45 degrees right now, and again the wind's out of the northwest at about 7 miles an hour. So wind wasn't an incredible factor during the women's game in the first half, although teams moving from south to north did have issues getting the ball to carry into the wind. So we are scoreless. The Wildcats will throw it in quickly, and Garcia over in the corner will work it ahead. Now Valley tries to break out. There's a pass chipped ahead to McLaren. McLaren will send it up the right side. Defense is there, so they'll settle and work it back now across the middle, all the way across the field, and Clark with it now. Left foots it ahead for Gladiador, who centers, and that's high over everyone, and it'll be run down by Brivik, the senior out of Overland Park, Kansas, for Baker, and that ball eventually goes wide, and Valley will throw it in. 38 minutes to play, roughly, in this first half. So much at stake. The top two teams in the conference fighting for the conference title, the 1 seed in the postseason tournament, and most importantly, automatic berth in the national tournament in a few weeks. Baker with it. Puna lost it to Valley, and there's a chance. Oh, good footwork. Still can't get it out. That's Toro who's in the middle. Never could get a good chance to get a shot. McLaren now in the right, that far corner. He gets bodied down. McLaren still fighting for control. Near that end line, and eventually taken away by Baker and fed forward. And that's Joseph Houlihan. He's a junior out of London, who eventually loses it, and it gets over to Clark. Clark now left foot ahead. Toro there, but over him, and headed away by Baker. Jordan Gomez, Nick, sophomore out of Wichita, had it, worked it forward. Clark chips it out, and Baker will throw it back in. It'll be Corey Mitchell to throw it in. And that's off the chest of Houlihan and sent forward. And Patrick Aaron Kunda, who will feed it forward. Aaron Kunda usually wears highlighter yellow gear. Today he's dressed in, he has the highlighter yellow gloves, but he's wearing green. Actually, both goaltenders in green. Aaron Kunda more of a forest green, and Alberto Ciori is more of a Kelly green, kind of. Chipped ahead, Toro there, and that's to the left. And Gladiador feeds it back, high centering chance. That's off the head of Garcia. And he'll feed it back. And they work that far football sideline. Can't keep it under control is Valley. Now it's one orange shirt against 1, 2, 3 blue ones. Garcia there. And that's worked away by Brivik and out to Baker. Brivik, he's out of Overland Park also. Gets it ahead now to Austin Halsey, who's a junior out of Topeka. That's kicked out. Baker will throw in once again. 10 minutes gone by, first half. Yeah, this one, they'll feed it back to the goalkeeper. Now forward. Chipped ahead and too far. Looking for Mitchell. Throw in from Valley. McLaren bodies it down. And that's a hit. Oh, and a handball that was momentarily not called. That gets whistled down. And Puna and Marderall exchanging pleasantries. Baker from about 50 yards out sends it in, and that's headed away. But a left foot from Baker tries to keep it in. Valley sends it out, and Sergio Toro in a foot race. And a lot of body contact over there, but Toro 1-on-3. And he will shoot, and it gets sent wide. Individual effort by Toro, and he was trying to work around Mac Baum, the junior out of Overland Park, on that far side, number 15 for Baker. Garcia on the corner kick on the far side. Will send it in, left foot, high, curls, punched away, but McLaren will track it down, and he will eventually lose it, and that is Mitchell for Baker. Ahead now to Levine. He tries to feed it long, looking for Gomez-Nix cutting, but it was picked off by Clark, and he'll send it now forward, right side, long pass over the top of everyone, and Garcia's now there. Looking for Toro in the middle, and that gets chipped away and out. And it'll be a corner kick for Valley with 32 minutes remaining in the first half. Baker coming in, 17 games, 42 goals on the season. High kick, headed away by Gomez-Nix, but Magalhaes will run it down. And that gets chipped back, and Ross Clark racing over, and he will eventually get it and feed all the way back to Aaron Kunda, and Valley will kind of reset its offense. For Valley, 16 games, 41 goals on the season. Here it's too long and out. And a goal kick upcoming for Baker, leading Missouri Valley in goals. There's a couple of them. Sergio Toro, 5 goals. Pedro Garcia, also 5 goals. Dominic Newton, number 11 for Valley, with 6 on the season. So kind of a balanced scoring attack as far as the leaders go of this Valley team. For Baker, leading the way, you have Houlihan with 8 goals on the season. Austin Halsey with 7 goals. Blake Levine also with 7 goals on the season of their 42. That's kind of headed away by Valley as Clark sends it ahead and toward the stands over the Viking bench. Throw in for the Wildcats. And McLaren will have that one out. Baker comes in, 1 conference loss. That was to Penn on October 15th in double overtime. The last game was against Mid-Am, and that was a 1-1 tie on Wednesday. So Baker, a good run through the season, and currently sitting on top of the standings. Missouri Valley coming off a 1-1 tie against CMU on Wednesday night. Had an unbeaten run interrupted by Grandview on a Sunday game. There was weather on October 15th, so both these teams lost on October 15th. 2-1 loss to Grandview. The Vikings took care of Valley's Vikings up there on a very wet field. And then a heartbreaking loss for Valley against Mid-Am as the Pioneers scored with about 90 seconds remaining. The shot hit the post, and then it was put in as Aaron Kunda and the defenseman really couldn't do anything about it. Both stood there watching. And the ball was then kicked in, and it gave Valley a 2-game losing streak. And then a 4-0 win against Mount Mercy last Saturday for the Vikings, and the tie on Wednesday against CMU. That ball gets headed out. There'll be a throw-in again for Missouri Valley, or for Baker, and Baum will throw it in. Baum high throw. McLaren was there, headed by Baker though. Doesn't get on net and gets kicked out by Valley. And Mitchell will shield Toro and let the ball go out. And Baum will throw it in again. This time it's headed by Houlihan. And a chance for Baker. Ball's free. Kicked up into the air by Valley. Headed by Clark. Now on the right foot of Baker. Can't get anything done with it. And I believe that was Gomez-Nix who couldn't do anything with it momentarily. Valley heads it forward. That gets deflected by Puna. But they get it ahead to Toro. Toro surrounded by 3 blue shirts. Now back and all kinds of contact. Gomez-Nix was there. Crowd reacting. Vladdy Simic wants an explanation. The foul was called, and Valley will get a kick right in front of its own bench, and it's just worked ahead now to McLaren. McLaren trying to get around Gomez-Nix. And that's kicked by Gluskovic. But it goes out, and Clark will do the throw in. Just past the 28-minute mark, and that ball's out again, and that's off Puna, and Valley will throw it in. That's launched ahead, and that's too much for Houlihan there, and they'll work it back to Aaron Kunda, and he'll now reverse the field and go right side, and they'll try to work it up that side. Illich had it briefly, now back to Aaron Kunda, and they'll play catch. Token pressure coming from Levine as Valley now goes right side, and that's Garcia up ahead Magalhaes. He's a senior from Sao Paulo, Brazil. And they're working ahead. And there's Toro again, Garcia there. And then chip back. And Aaron Kunda will come out of the box and feed it over slowly to Illich. Now to McLaren. McLaren being dogged by Mitchell. Gets it back to the middle. And Marit Gerson had it briefly. Now the team's kind of feeling each other out. A lot of action early. And McLaren goes 1-on-2, feeds it ahead. And a little shove in the back that gets whistled. And so Valley will have a kick. Coming from about, well, they're going to bring it back to about midfield. They start. Illich. Pass forward, gets headed by Baker. Now headed back by Valley. Clark gets wrestled down. Physical game so far. The Wildcats, coached by Nate Hauser. He's up looking for an explanation. The Vikings by Vladimir Simic. And that is Gluskovic. Left foot. Bends, and that's headed away by Baker, but right on the foot of McLaren, who trying to control it, has it kicked away by Gomez Nix. Now Baker running right side, or it's left side. And it gets knocked out by Magalhaes. And that one sent up to the fence and the RV across the way. We've played 20 minutes, no score. Each team has one shot on goal, or one shot, neither on goal. Into the middle, that's bite away, and now a chance for Valley to break out. 3 defenders back for Valley, though they're going to run left side. And now here comes Illich to the middle, left foot. Offside is Toro, and it gets whistled. So Toro got behind the defenders without the ball, and it goes back to Baker. Try to check some other scores for the women's action, the bulk of which is starting, or started about, some of it started an hour ago, some of it's going to start here in a few minutes in terms of its action. Valley, a 3-1 winner earlier against Baker. So the Vikings guaranteed at least 4th. And I want the scoreboard watch a little bit to see what is happening with the other games being played today. Right now is Evangela and Grandview. That game has meaning for Valley in terms of the standings. The big ones, though, Mid-Am and Graceland and Benedictine against Mount Mercy, and foul called, and that'll be Valley ball. Aaron Kunda to bring it back in. And looking at the Grandview score, it's 1-1 first half. The Vikings of Grandview and the Evangel Crusaders are tied. So we'll do our best to track that one. Again, the other games we're really watching for in terms of the women's games. Benedictine and Mount Mercy and Mid-Am and Graceland. Baker with it. That pass intercepted by Clark. He'll chip it ahead. Work back to the center. And Gluskovic turns it over, and Puna ended up with it. Ahead, looking for Houlihan in the middle. Clark with it. And Baker trying to apply pressure, right sideline. Good defensive play by Clark. Clark looking for it to be ruled that the ball went off of Levine, and so it'd be a volleyball, but the throw-in's going to belong to Baker, and Baum will send it in. There's the throw. Headed away from the net. And that is high and through the goalpost by Halsey. He's a junior out of Topeka. And among the leading scorers for Baker, as I mentioned earlier. But it's high and it's misses. And the Vikings will have a goal kick coming up with 20 and a half to play here in the first half. CMU is hosting Clark women's soccer. That game's going on now. Again, CMU has the 1 seed on the women's side for the Hart tournament. Illich. Now McLaren racing Puna up the field. McLaren right foots it by Saroui. As we watch the replay, got through and just a bit wide. I might have beaten them, but it might have been wide enough too. The angle's a little askew, and so I might be off. Kick comes and chested down by Gladiador. Garcia feeds it back. That's Monterell. And Halsey ends up with it now far side, and a whistle and a throw in, and that'll be Brivik, who's a senior out of Overland Park, to kick. And right all the way across now, as Baum has it. Clark intercepting twice. Toro can't do much with it. Almost a third time for Ross Clark. But it gets back, and we played from inside the box. Mount Mercy Benedictine for the women, and Culver Stockton William Penn, Mid-Am, and Graceland, all 5 o'clock starts, so they'll be getting underway momentarily. And there is down Gluskovic, freshman of Belgrade, Serbia. And he was apparently kneed in the back by Steve Puna, who's out of Cameroon. Illich feeds it back, and that's Gerson. Back to Illich, now McLaren. Pass ahead, and was Gladiador couldn't quite find it originally. Fed out the goal kick. 17-30. Running with the ball and extending himself quite a bit and trying to feed the ball forward, and he's down around the 35-yard line of the football field. He really extended. I can't get the number. It's Halsey. He really extended to try to kick that ball forward, and then stayed down. He's rubbing and grabbing the. No, he's working on his shorts. Looks like he's hobbling a little bit on his left foot. But a throw in now for Valley, and now it's Magalhaes to throw it in. And it goes to Baker. Throw in, and Houlihan was trying to work for position. Nothing really happening there, and that gets chipped back ahead for Baker. And Clark. Forward, McLaren tries hitting it forward, and that works to an extent for Gladiador. Here comes McLaren forward, and that gets kicked off, and it's Mitchell. It goes off of, but the ruling, nope. And so Mitchell will throw it in. There is Halsey. And Gluskovic back to Illich. Magalhaes forward to Garcia. And now they'll work it back and kind of survey the field. Ahead now. Too tall for Gladiador, headed forward. Puna with a foot in the chest of, I believe that's Gladiador. And it is. Whistled down, and Valley will get a kick from about 35 yards out. Left foot high, bending, headed to the middle, and caught. Not an orange shirt there, no real threat. And kicked high, long kick. That ball carried about 67, 68 yards. Clark, middle of the field now for Gerson. Ahead, looking for Gladiador, too far, headed by Baum. But Gladiador gets it, trying to work around, it looks like Mitchell. Ross Clark with it. Middle of the field. RL try to get too cute with it, and that loses it. And streaking down the far side is Houlihan. He's got a cutter in the middle of the field. That was Levine racing for it, and that's what his pass was for. But there were 6 orange shirts there around Levine. Not much of a chance. 13.5 to play. And Gladiador doesn't handle it cleanly, and the ball will go back to Baker as Hickel feeds it back to the goal. Long kick forward, headed away. Now Corey Mitchell with it. He's a junior out of Lee Summit. Baum to Puna, back to Baum. McLaren applying pressure, doesn't get to this one, but it goes back, and Magalhaes is there. And he's being pressured by Halsey, now working far side. Chipped away. And it looks like Puna, and a grab from behind by Valley. And they will work it back. 12.5 to play, first half. No score. Both teams now credited with two shots, neither on goal. So a dearth of chances after playing for 33 minutes. And here's Gladiador looking for Toro in the middle. Doesn't get there. Clark intercepts. Now trying to get her on the left side, but Corey Mitchell kicks it out. Throw in for the Vikings, and a couple substitutions on the way for Missouri Valley. Clayton Sousa coming in, and also Peter Yakovo for Valley. Going out, Gluskovic and Toro. Gladiador centering, and no one's home, and an easy catch. No traffic. Lively crowd in front of me as that carries out of bounds. Magalhaus gave it a look, and he'll throw it in as we approach 11 minutes to play. So 45 degrees at the opening, at the start of the game. And that will probably be it for in terms of heat. These games pushed up to avoid colder temperatures. So the women's game started at 2. This one started a little before 4:30 Central Time. And all these teams get the scoreboard watched this evening in terms of play. The ball up by the bleachers on the far side. 10.5 to play. And throw in for Alex Brivik. Forthcoming. And now a huddle between Clayton Sousa, freshman out of Sao Paulo, Brazil, and Steve Puna, who I mentioned earlier is out of Cameroon, is a junior for Baker. And that caucus is complete. Substitution for Baker upcoming. Brandon Milburn will check in. He's out of Olathe. There's a pass to the center. And that's chipped away, and a whistle. Ball will stay with Baker about 30 yards out. And Levine will send it in. There's the whistle to start, and Levine puts it toward the middle, headed, and it's off the chest of Mitchell. Took a hard bounce off his chest and went right to Aaron Kunda, and he just flops on it. And he'll roll it out to Clark. Clark now back to the middle of the field. Good pressure by Baker the last several minutes. Clark ahead, long pass looking for McLaren, but that goes out of bounds, and it's basically to the Baker coach, Nate Hauser. And so the Wildcats will throw it in. Bombed throw in. And that's off Clark. Clark kind of bicycle kicks it through. Now back to Baker, and the ball pinballing between the 40s, more or less. Looks like halftime at Grandview, 1-1 between the Vikings and Evangel. And Valley has a player down at about the 45-yard line of the football field. And then it's McLaren who is down. He rubs that left knee. Chilly day. A lot of footwork. Nothing comes of it for Valley. Now on the far side, looking like Sousa over there. Back to the middle. And a play for McLaren. McLaren has the ball kind of tie himself up in his feet. Still under being controlled, and that's taken away. by Baker. As that was Levine. Clark tries to get it ahead, but can't get it through. Looks like Jake Moore. And bodies everywhere. Everyone looking for calls. Baker's gotten the last couple. As we watch, and yeah, that's Gerson going through the Wildcats. So Levine to kick, 6.5 to play. Up, and Aaron Kunda right there, and he just snags it out of the air. And he'll hold and let people run. His kick. Kind of dying in the wind and gets headed by Milburn for Baker. And that's chipped ahead, and that's Gomez Nix. Now centering. A lot of contact there. Baker putting just last several minutes, really good pressure. That's Houlihan. It sends it off of Clark. It goes out, and the throw in coming from Milburn. And now he'll drop it back for Max Baum. Baum to throw in, coming up on 5 minutes to play, first half. Baum's throw headed a couple different times. Baker had both those shots off the head. But Houlihan, who was the last to touch it for Baker, didn't get anything on it, and now Valley clears. Gladiador, the recipient of that, or the intended recipient of that pass, gets headed away. And Valley will have a throw in. Clark coming up to throw it in. And a couple people feed him some balls, and he has his choice. Clark to McLaren. McLaren can't get around Puna. Now down the side. The ball stuck between Puna's legs. Throw in coming for Baker, headed by Clark. Puna, Magalhaes will be there, and it goes awry off his foot, so he just will send it back to Aaron Kunda as we've passed the 4-minute mark. High pass, perhaps for Gladiador, gets to him. And he tries to work around Brandon Milburn. Now McLaren back to Gladiador. And he works around Baum, centers. But Baker is there. McLaren will chip it out. Throw in for the Wildcats. 3.5 to play, first half. Headed by Clark. Levine with it. Bodies everywhere. Gladiador works it ahead. And nice footwork by Sousa. He goes other side, and that's Slaven Bascalo. He tried to get a left foot on it, didn't get much on it. And now Levine and Gerson on the far side. Gerson wins the race for that, chips it ahead. Martorell over there, and he'll feed it all the way across, and there's Clark once again. McLaren Gladiador tried to give and go back to McLaren, and it actually kind of worked because it comes off Bomb's foot funnily. That's not right, even a word. Funny, and a foul. It came off the foot oddly. How about that? 2 minutes to play. Magalhaes with the head, and he got whistled for that effort. So a kick for Baker from about 30 yards out. And coming on 90 seconds to play. Three shots aside, one on goal, according to the stat sheet. Some directing of traffic. Kick is in and caught, and Aaron Kunda had to go over the defender to get it. Yeah, it was Illich who was the defender. 60 seconds. And they roll it out, and that's Clark. Clark ahead now. No one's really there. And it goes out, and Baum will throw it in. Baum looking, races forward, throws it, headed by Clark. Too much for Monterell. And a foul. And a yellow card comes out. So a yellow card on Baker. And the clock is stopped with 41 to play. "41 seconds in the half." McLaren was attempting to get it, and a foul, and ball gets whistled down. That foul on Baker. And 20 seconds. High, headed away, and out, and that in the last 10 seconds might, unless something drastic happens, and with the ball going out is not going to happen. So we've played 45 minutes. We are scoreless. The conference championship, an automatic berth, the national tournament on the line the last 45. 0-0 the score. You're watching Missouri Valley College men's soccer on the Viking Sports Network. And we're back for the second half of action. No score. A couple other scores I do want to pass along as far as the women's side goes. Benedictine leads Benedictine leads Mount Mercy. I've been doing that all day. Mount Mercy 2-0 about 25 minutes ago in the first half. Goals from Abby Hare and Rosie McShane. And that one, I'll check the Graceland Mid-Am. Looks like no score. And that game's about 15 minutes into its first half. So no score in either of those, but no score in the Mid-Am Graceland game. Benedictine leads Mount Mercy 2-0 with about 25 minutes to go in its first half. No score here on the men's side. The women did win 3-1 against Baker, guaranteed fourth in the conference tournament. For the men, the winner of this game wins the conference regular season and gets an automatic berth to the National NAIA tournament. And there's McLaren running left side. And that's Hickel he was fighting against. Valley moving from north to south now with the win. That's Clark gets dumped and the kick will go to Valley. That's Hickel he was fighting against. Valley needs a win in order for to claim the conference title. A tie doesn't do it any good at all. That's deflected off of like Puma down there. Puna. Ahead, too far for McLaren. 3 minutes gone by. Halsey ahead, and that now is Jordan Gomez-Nix. Kicked out. So with a tie, if these two teams should tie, Valley could still be number 2, but would require CMUs to lose or tie to Clark, and Clark is not had the best of seasons. They're winless on the year, so unlikely that would happen. And Benedict would have to tie Mount Mercy or lose, and Mid-Am would have to tie or lose to Graceland in order for Missouri Valley to hang on to the 2 seed with a tie. A lot of time to go, 41 minutes to play in the second half for the championship. But Baker would love a tie. They get the title and the automatic bid. Chipped ahead, now centering. No one really home for Valley. And it'll roll all the way out. And throw in for the Wildcats on this near side, and that'll be Brivik, who will bring it in. Nope. Brivik was there, I thought about it. And now the man behind the post throws it in. Headed by D'Souza. McLaren right sides, high, wide, and all the way to the fence, and goal kick. 5 minutes gone by. Here in the second half. Checking another women's score. The Grandview and Evangel game. As the Valley has the ball near midfield. That game is 1-1 second half. Grandview and Evangel, that's women's soccer. Again, the men's action all later on. Valley's game moved up to lessen the effects of cold and temperature and the weather. So women already played. That's a 3-1 Valley victory. Men got about a 4:30-ish start. Valley with a chance now. That's Dominic Newton wearing number 11 on the roster sheet in front of me. 19 was his number, but he's 11 and has been all day. So he's running forward. Corner kick now for Valley. And that's sent in and headed in! Valley breaks on top. And I believe it's Luka Glushevich with the score. No, it could have been Clayton Sousa, number 4. And it is Sousa, number 4, with the goal. So the Vikings lead 1-0 on Clayton Sousa's goal. And with 38:29 to play here in the second half for Sousa. That is goal number 5 on the season. He has 1 assist also. So huge goal. Valley breaks on top. 1-0 with about 38.5 to play. Throw in now coming for Valley. And a sub for Baker as Corey Mitchell goes onto the field, and coming out is number 6, Brandon Milburn. So Mitchell, a junior out of Lee Summit, replaces Milburn, who's a senior out of Olathe. On the Kansas side of the Missouri-Kansas border. Throw in coming far side. It's headed away. Now Houlihan had his head on, but Valley sends it forward. Baker, for large stretches of that first half, had a good deal of offensive pressure. Just not a lot of shots on goal. And for Valley now, that was shot number 4, second on goal. And the goal from Sousa, Bascalo got the assist on that goal, as McLaren has it now at about midfield. Ahead, there's Sousa. And it gets back to him, and he has it taken away by Steve Puna. High kick over everyone, and corralled by Alberto Soroi. Roll forward, now back, and Jack Adamson, who's out of Scotland, the freshman. And a yellow card for Sousa. So Clayton Sousa, freshman out of Sao Paulo, Brazil, came up, played behind the play, and took out Puna out of Cameroon, and down he went, and there was little hesitation. And the yellow card came out for Clayton Sousa, the goal scorer. Ref had a couple words for Vladimir Simic. Baker should trigger, and Halsey just feeds it over for Adamson. Adamson ahead, and that comes back toward Adamson, but Sousa was there to intercept, and Valley will try to work the near sideline. That's fancy fork. McLaren has it on his right foot. McLaren trying to get around Puna, cannot. Now it's Brivik with it. Whistles, and the ball to Missouri Valley. And Hauser didn't like the call for Baker. Chipped ahead, Illich. And Sousa once again with the infraction. Kicked ahead. Big kick. Headed away by Illich. That one's chipped up in the air. A lot of backspin on that guy. McLaren heads it. Puna trying to chest it down. Does. And he'll just feed it on back for Hickel. On the defense. Baker down a goal. 10 minutes into the period. The goal at 38-33. And now a chance for Valley. That's chipped right. Here comes Bascalo. Centering, head, nope, not headed. Over the top of the head, and now Gustavo De Sousa, who's out of Brazil. And that's offside for Valley. And so it gets flipped over to Baker. Graceland 1-0 lead over Mid-Am in women's soccer with 18.5 to play. So, again, Valley, the women's team, at least a 4 seed. If Graceland can knock off Mid-Am and Benedictine falls to Mount Mercy, Valley could climb as high as 2. If Graceland beats Mid-Am and Benedictine wins, and the Ravens were winning 2-0 the last time I looked, it'd be Valley a 3 seed then for the tournament. And there's a player on the ground. It looks like that Clark. Clark and Puna over there were scrambling for the ball. He kicked it out. I think his leg clipped Puna's leg, and then Clark yelped, and then play was stopped. So throw in for Baker, 32:56 to play in regulation. 3-0 Benedictine is leading. Sydney Routh for the Ravens. So a win for the Ravens would lock up the 2 seed on the women's side. And checking out is Clayton Sousa. Checking in, Sergio Toro for the Vikings. And Sousa having discussion with head coach Vladi Simic. That is the goal scorer so far. It's his goal that has Valley its 1-0 lead. And ahead now for the Wildcats. This play is onside. There's a shot high and wide. And that's toward the entrance gate. And so a goal kick forthcoming for Valley. Clayton Sousa, a freshman, I said, out of Sao Paulo, Brazil. Heavy international flavor for this Missouri Valley College men's team. Actually, both teams have a good deal of international players and bring a lot of different expertise from across the world for this Valley program. As a knockdown is Adamson. And Bascalo was the one who gave him the old hockey hip check and sent him down. So Levine about 50 yards out to kick. And McLaren got his head on it, and it comes out, and now Valley has 5 orange shirts against 3 blue ones, behind Bascalo a little bit, and Baker recovers. Illich rolls it forward, but easy play there. That's thrown back out, and there is Adamson. That's now ahead for Houlihan. Waiting for help, feeds it to Halsey. Halsey goes in among the orange trees, and that gets kicked out, and there's McLaren behind the player on that pass. And Baker trying to get set way ahead and toward the net. Toro gives a little chase, but it is corralled. How do you pronounce that guy's name? No one knows. No one knows how to pronounce it. Baker, long pass far side ahead. That's onside. Looking for Houlihan in the middle. Doesn't get through. So now Valley trying to run 4-on-2 at the moment. That pass too slow. Doesn't get to Toro. And, a play whistled down. Gustavo de Sousa gets called for the infraction against Blake Levine. Simic didn't like it. But so it goes. Simic still not happy. I'm not sure what he's barking at. Clark over there. And he eventually wins control of it. Feed it out. Now it's McLaren. Long pass looking for Toro. Doesn't get through. That's picked off. Valley with 28 minutes and some change to play. Taking a few more chances. Again, bodied down. Same 2 people. De Sousa called for the infraction. And Levine's the guy that took the tumble. Puna across the field. Pass gets by a Valley defender. Now far side, right-footed, back toward the middle, and that's intercepted. Ahead now for McLaren. McLaren drops it off. And that to Toro. Again trying for Toro. But Baker is there. Again, the Wildcats to win the conference need a win here or a tie. Ball to Valley. And the Baker crowd doesn't like it. Substitution coming in, and that's going to be Pedro Garcia is in. And it looks like Bascalo is coming out. Throw in from the Valley. High over the head of Pedro Garcia. That's Toro with it. Toro and Hickle elbowing each other. Hickle gets whistled for the infraction. Now a kick for Valley, 26.5 to play. And this one, and Valley with a win, wins the conference and the 1 seed and a bit of the national tournament. Gustavo de Sousa. And they're whistling for the volley back, the infraction on the play on Levine. Not sure there was much there, but it was whistled. Gerson feeds it back. Aaron Kuhn to the top of the box. That's off the head of Adamson. McLaren had it for a second, but it was chipped ahead by Hickle. Now a long pass, and Gerson's there. Mariet Gerson out of Utrecht, Netherlands, was there for Valley, and the ball will go to the Vikings. Throw in far side as we approach the 25-minute mark. Of this game. It's winner take all game for the loser. A lot in the balance. So ultimately, Baker can't fall terribly far. For Valley, though, it's one or as much as 6 is in play. Throw in far side. And that gets chipped out. Stays with the Vikings. 24.5 to play. Men's soccer, other actions tonight. Grandview plays Evangel. It's a 7 o'clock start. And on the women's side, Grandview leads Evangel now 2-1 in that game. So the Grandview Vikings looking to maintain at least some of the position. The Ravens and Mustangs in Mount Mercy, Benedictine against Mount Mercy, 3-0 halftime is that score. So Benedictine trying to hang on to the second spot there. For Graceland Mid-America Nazarene, 1-0, Graceland. The Yellow Jackets lead with a few minutes to go in the first half. Forward Sergio Toro. Hands in the ball, gets kicked out. Throw in coming for Valley. Again, the Graceland Mid-Am score, the Benedictine Mount Mercy score, Grandview and Evangels are all women's scores going on right now. The men's games are all a little bit later on this evening. Halsey had it. Now McLaren does, but he eventually loses it. Toro there, but it's kept away from everyone. And now Adamson up with it. Ahead. And once again, Halsey. Leaves it for Puna. Adamson now, left side. Feeds toward the middle, nothing there. And that's kicked it forward by Garcia to McLaren. McLaren back to Garcia. Garcia tries feeding it to the right side for Toro, but nothing doing there. And the Wildcats recapture, feeding it back, and now we'll go work the right side. Too far ahead. Looks like that's Corbin Warner over there for Baker. Throw in for Valley over the head of one player. McLaren had it. Looks like it was Dominic Newton. And now John Martorell was on the ground. 21 minutes left in this one. Gerson down the field. Toro gets sandwiched by two people. And again, Martorell on the ground. And that was Puna who took him down. Back now. Illich ahead, left side. That plays on side. Here's a shot. Oh, and a save and a kicked away. A great chance for Valley, and that was Newton on the far side, who had that chance. You watch the feed from Illich. Newton the left foot, and Ceroi from Udine, Italy, went to his left and made the save. Substitution coming in. Alex Brivik is going to check back in for Baker. He's a senior out of Overland Park, and coming out is number 16, Carlos Galindo, a sophomore out of Los Angeles. Right side now. That's D'Souza looking for someone in the middle, sends it high and wide of everything, and it'll be a goal kick for the Wildcats. 1-0. 19 minutes, a little less than 19 to play in the game. Baker looking for an equalizer. Valley looking for an add-on, as Puna will now work the middle of the field. Ahead, there's Adamson. Adamson had it for a second, lost it. And down he went, and Baker will try once again. Right side, there's Clark who gets it. Illich has it. Nope, whistled down, stays with Baker. And we're at 18:04. Levine from about 45 out. There's to the middle. That's headed by Valley up, straight up in the air. Then Garcia heads it up, still being chased with a shot off the post, and they score. Second time in 2 games, a ball has come off the post, and the Papa's opposing team has been able to put it home. And I believe that is Brivik with the game-tying goal. Nope, number 9, Joseph Houlihan. Houlihan with the goal, and for him, that is goal number 9 on the season. He is Baker's leading scorer, and we're all tied up, 17:30 to play in now regulation. So the Wildcats get the equalizer. It happened against Mid-Am about 10 days ago, and it happens once again. The ball off that near side post, and then nothing to the defense could do, and the ball gets put back home. The one against Mid-America won the game for the Pioneers. This one ties it for Baker, and now a whole new sense of urgency for the Vikings. Need to get back on top. Substitutions around. McLaren is out, and Toro came out. Ball to Baker. And now the Wildcats can take their time again. A tie does not hurt them. Tie gives them the championship and a bid. Kicked in. And Aaron Kuna comes way out, but it's headed aside. It's a goal kick. Joseph Houlihan, a junior out of London, England, with the game-tying goal. So Valley trying now to work it ahead. Valley had a chance to go up 2-love, but the ball on the shot by Dominic Newton was saved by Ciori. Oh, and a nice offensive play there to intercept that long pass, but here comes Val. Nope, and taken away by Levine. And Baker, oh, that ball chipped aside. Baker has a chance for a little bit of a rush. Now Valley trying to work it, and Gluskovic loses it. And as a player, Baker Wildcat rolling around on the ground. He tried taking the ball. And he's down, and he's going to get, is he down and the yellow? And he's still grabbing his shin. And trainers and coaches are walking out to take care of him as there's a discussion. Gluskovic offering a hand. And he doesn't want it. And the ref now talking to the coach. The yellow is still out. And he's being helped up now. 15-16 to play. And Puna will hobble off, and 20, no, it's Levine. He was already in. they're going to head off now. And so he'll take a seat for a second. Halftime in women's soccer, Graceland 1-0 over Mid-America. So Valley from about 45 out to kick. And high curling, headed away by Baker. So no substitution. Puna is right back on the field. Left foot to the center and no one home. Garcia sent it in the middle. Sun is setting, lights taking effect on the field. We have crossed the 15-minute mark. That's too tall for the effort of Martero. Throw in and chipped away. So we'll do it again. Now Baker with it. That's off of Valley. Gustavo de Sousa off of him and out. And play stops. 13:56 as the Wildcat takes the seat. And that was Houlihan. That's the goal scorer. Yeah. So Houlihan, and now the coaches are going to talk to him. So Baker is short a man for a second, and Houlihan runs back on the field. And there he is kicking it forward. And he just launches it ahead. And Valley is content to let it go out. Goal kick upcoming for the Vikings. 13.5 to play. Headed ahead twice. Now brought down. Halsey. Oh, fancy pass, but it's intercepted. Now Garcia. They're going to flag down Baker. Ball to Valley. Back to the middle field from Monterey, and there's Gerson on the left side of that, the far side of that hash. Baker gets it out. Back to the middle now. Gerson, right side, and no one's there but a blue shirt. In the feet of De Sousa. He gets it back from Garcia. Now leaves it for Garcia. Garcia going to run toward the middle. Left foot. That gets deflected off someone's back and gets headed forward. That goes off Gluskovic. And a shot in the middle and right at the goaltender. And so an easy pickup for him, under 11 and a half. Headed it forward, and there's Blake Levine. Levine leaves it back. There's Houlihan, the goal scorer. Gets defended nicely, and there's a little contact. Adamson tries to go through, and that gets called. It's about 21 yards out. So a kick coming for Baker. And Gustavo de Sousa was whistled for the infraction. He's in disbelief. Vladi Simic in disbelief. So they'll mark the ball back at the 20-yard line. So 30 yards, or sorry, the 15-yard line. So 25 yards. Separate the ball in the back of the net, and a couple blue shirts are there. Puna to kick, high and wide. So chance for Baker by the wayside. But time becoming less of a friend for Missouri Valley. A couple of people looks like they're gonna get a sub back in. Boscalo and McLaren heading toward the midfield stripe. Also, this Clayton Sousa, the goal scorer for Valley. Gustavo de Sousa had it. Left side now, back toward the middle. That's on the, there's a couple people there. Garcia works around one, now trying to get back on his left foot. Gets taken down, and that's whistled. And I'm not sure that, I think it's Corey Mitchell. Much cared for that. Nope, not Mitchell. It's like Brandon Milburn, 6, I think. So a chance for Garcia from right outside the box, about 20 yards away. Past the 9-minute mark. Garcia kicks right at him. He saw it all the way, did Soroy, and easy play, 8.5 to play. Baker now, that's taken away by Garcia, and he's fighting with Brivik. Brivik whistled, and now ball going to be kicked in by Valley. Eight to go. Left foot sends it in. That's headed away by Puna. He comes back to him, but there's Glucevic. Now fed back. Illich ahead. But not much that Miguel Fernandez can do with it. Number 9 for Valley. And Illich gets dumped. And Illich just pushes down the defender. And now tensions are. Illich was fouled. They're calling them together. Houlihan and Illich. Yellow for both. That's a yellow card for both Illich and Houlihan. Illich got dumped by Houlihan, took exception to it, and then pushed him down. So the clock is stopped with 7:23. It'll be a kick for Valley. The ref having a conversation now with Vladi Simic. Nods. Subs are going in. McLaren coming in. Bascalo's staying off. Sousa staying off, as you see. Yeah, that's just kind of silly. As you watch the replay by Illich. Left foot. Headed and scores! What a goal! Valley reclaims the lead on a magnificent header. By Martorell. And so with 7:19, Joan Martorell gives Valley the 2-1 lead. And a huge goal for Missouri Valley. For Martorell, goal number 4 on the season. He has 3 assists. As you watch it again, Glucevic, high kick, the header, and in. And so Valley now 1-goal lead and 7:19 to hang on for the title. Baker's pass is wide right off the start. Bascalo gets it, and then Valley can add one more, and it'd be better. Not that they would need it necessarily, but 2 goals space better than 1. There's a whistle. Foul behind the play is like Halsey got dumped behind the play. Baker now to kick from about that south 37-yard line. Two, 1 the score. Urgency back now for the Wildcats. Once again looking for the equalizer. High, long kick headed away by Valley. Now there's a chance for a 2-on-1. Long feet ahead, too far for Bascalo, and that ball is kicked up by like bomb for the defense. D'Souza feeding it back now to Glucevic. Near sideline, fed back to Sousa, to Bascalo, who was adjusting his socks as that pass came to him. 2 people on Bascalo, not much he can do with it. Play on as Puna was on the ground after an attempt by Glucevic. Centering, high pass, looking for Houlihan, who scored earlier for Baker. And that gets sent away by Valley, and that comes on the foot of Clayton Sousa, who scored the first Valley goal. And here now left side, and a whistle by Cross Clark over there. And Clark and collided with Joa Hickel. Clark still on the ground as the seconds tick off and the pressure mounts. Tensions are rising among the players. And referees are now having a discussion. So Valley to kick from about 50 out. Garcia was there for a second. 5:37, the kick comes in. That was bodied down by Sousa. Pedro Garcia over in the corner. Throw in for Valley. 5.5 to play. 2-1 the score. Winner is the number 1 seed in the conference tournament, automatic berth to the NAI tournament. That is kicked wide. Goal kick forthcoming. Baker now in a hurry. That's headed forward, and a whistle. Valley's going to get called for an infraction. So now Baker from about 50 out. There's a kick, and that's headed by Baker. Chipped in front off a Valley defender, but Patrick Aaron Kunda ran over and grabbed it. And so Valley now taking its time. Houlihan right there in front of Aaron Kunda just to say hello. Aaron Kunda with a drop kick high, and that's headed forward. Back by Valley, and it'll ping pong its way between the 40s. There's Wally Simic gesturing for some help as Luka Glushevich and Jack Adamson, I believe, were jostling for it. Ball to Missouri Valley. Coming up on 3.5 to play. Along the sideline, Gustavo de Sousa now feeding it gingerly forward. He gets it back. Trying to work around. Oh, nice little nifty pass by Clayton Sousa. Fed toward the center. Here's a shot. Oh, and a save by Ciroi. Great save by Alberto Ciroi. That would have been 3-1 and would have pretty much sealed it for Valley with 3 minutes to play. As it is, Valley has it now working. Kick back to the side, and there's Glushevich near the corner behind the light stanchion. Now fed forward and headed forward. But Valley will maintain possession. Here's Buscalo working toward the center of the field. Buscalo makes a nice move around a defender, getting around Brandon Milburn, but Milburn and Baker get it back as Halsey's over in that direction, and Milburn. The ball is kicked aside. Ball to Baker with 2.5 to play. Wildcats' throw in. Milburn, that's kicked aside by Clark, and now gets ahead to Hickel. Hickel feeding it forward. A couple of the Wildcats there, but orange shirts flying around the ball now, and that orange shirt goes down. Ball to Valley. On the infraction, 2 minutes to play. And Valley clinging to the 2-1 lead. That's Clark over there limping around. McLaren is the man who will appear set to kick it in. And waiting, he does. High kick. 3 blue shirts there. And it's headed away. Ball saves the Valley. Throw into the far side, approaching 90 seconds to play. Throw in. Back out. This one's going to go to Baker. Throw in, and they're going to whistle it down. They're pointing back. Baker advanced the ball apparently too far for the throw in. And now we're at 60 seconds to the title. Headed forward. Houlihan, and that's going out, and that's Valley ball. Or that's right, it's whistle, and it's Valley ball. And they stop the clock, 51 seconds. Is all the little games to come out. As a Vikings over there, I think it's Clark over there tying his shoe. 51.3 on the scoreboard. 2-1 Valley. Kicked it forward. And there's Clayton Sousa. He gets bodied down, whistled. 42 and change. 30 seconds. Valley in no rush. Glucevic kicks it toward the corner. 18 seconds. Two blue shirts there as Clayton Sousa, who now is on the ground. He just stopped the clock with 10 seconds. Again, last chance for Baker. High kick, batted away, into the air, and the Heart of America Athletic Conference regular season championship belongs to the Missouri Valley College Vikings. 2-1 the final. The game winner comes at 7:19. Joan Maderell with the header on the free kick. Valley wins the conference and the automatic berth in the national tournament coming up in a couple of weeks. They'll be the #1 seed heading into the Heart of America Athletic Conference tournament. And for Baker, they'll wait and see what exactly happens with its chances. But again, Baker, I think, could only fall to 3 as far as it could go. So Missouri Valley College wins the conference, wins the automatic bid. 2-1 the final score. Goals for Valley coming from at 38-33 coming from Clayton Sousa. Baker tied it, a goal by Joseph Houlihan, and the game winner again at 7:19. Joan Maderell on a header, and it gives Valley the championship. 2-1 the final score. This has been a presentation of the Viking Sports Network, which is a production of the Missouri Valley College Mass Communication Department of the Division of Communications, Humanities, and Human Services. Transportation considerations provided by Elmer Hereford when Joe and Ken are on the road, as they were today, for Missouri Valley College football and upcoming for basketball. They travel in a Ford from Elmer Hereford. Missouri Valley College sweeps Baker today. 3-1 the final in the women's game, 2-1 the final in the men's game. And so for Jesus Zilli, Santiago Salazar, Troy Jones, TJ Barnes, Juliana Doyle, and Clay Duvall, I'm Chaz Matty saying so long from Missouri Valley College. 2-1 the final.